you guys for coming out. Hello, my name is Maximilian Mormont. I've been a certified coach since 2001. I have worked closely with professional athletes, models, TV stars. I have also helped 10 people lose over 100 pounds and 5 people lose over 200 pounds. I have personally started as a 185-pound soccer player. I've gone up to 285 pounds at 22% body fat, and I've gone all the way down to 206 at 5%, and then back up again, and now I'm on my way back down. So I'm 220 now at 10%. So I've played with my body weight a lot. I've been competitive, top 10 in the nation in 2 weight classes for Olympic weightlifting. 105 kilos, which is 231 pounds, and then 105 plus kilos, which is 231 to infinity. So that gave me a lot of room to gain weight. I've also worked with professional MMA fighters, and also I've worked with offensive linemen, and we're going to refer back to them mostly because they're two very different athletes. So one is specifically designed to stay inside of a weight class, and I will lose money if he gets heavier than that, but I still have to make him stronger and faster. And then the other one is an offensive lineman that I actually have to, one, keep his weight at 305 pounds because he has a set weight that he needs to be, or if not, he gets docked, and that turn, I get docked. So that's important that he weighs that, but I can't have him also too high in body fat because it makes him slow. So we're going to talk about that and different things about it. One of the key things that I'd like us all to focus on and remember, plan to set forth a commitment to stay on the diet for 30 days. So I say this a lot to everybody that I talk to about dieting. I say you have to figure out a way to be consistent for 30 days. Not just because you want to make a habit, you got to break a habit, and that all happens inside of 30 days. But in reality, it's all about data. And I don't know any high-level athlete, professional athlete that I've ever worked with, even any type of soap opera star, I haven't worked with movie stars, but soap opera stars, that have required me to dial in their diet and then figure it out one way or another. So whether they actually had a chef cook it for them, whether they weighed and measured it themselves, or they've been doing it for 10 or 15 years, they already know how to manipulate their diet. So if I add a little or take a little away, they know that they're going to gain lean body mass, or gain fat, or lose fat. So they have it already dialed in. So they've been doing it for so long. And a lot of us have not. So when we look at this, it's important that we stay consistent. And when we think about consistency, consistency is the key to efficiency. So that goes back to the whole idea that this diet is designed for performance. So this is a hybrid diet that I've created. And it's through a bunch of diets that I've looked at. So the diets that I've used is the paleo diet, the zone diet, slow carb diet, the raw diet, the anabolic diet, and the intermittent fasting diet. All right? So I've taken a little bit of each. They're all very similar, yet they're all very different. And I've combined them to create a hormonal spike. And I'm not going to get too much into the science of the actual diet, but I'm just going to break it down for you and tell you what you need and why. If you guys have more questions in regards to the science behind it and why it works so well, I can give you reading material. I can steer you in the right direction. So I'm not going to tell you no, I won't give you that information. Just for the sake of time, we're going to just look at specific what we want to do and what we want to create. We're looking at, specifically when we're building a diet, is what type of athlete are we building the diet for? So when I look at athletes, and I think of basically 3 realms. All right, I think of an endurance athlete, so we're talking triathlons, we're talking marathons, ultra marathons, and then I'm looking at a power athlete. Now a power athlete's kind of pretty much anywhere from a soccer player, which is kind of power endurance, all the way to a football player, which is power for 10 seconds, not 90 minutes like a soccer player. So it's very, very big, broad domain of a power athlete, right? Now when I look at a CrossFit athlete, it's almost like a decathlete, which is somewhat similar to a power athlete. However, they're going to require a lot of endurance and also a lot of gymnastics. So their body weight has to be set at a certain number. So then when we started doing more research, we found that most endurance athletes at a very high level are about 2 pounds per inch. 2 pounds per inch. Also, too, a female is about 1.6 pounds per inch. So what we did was we started looking around, we started looking at Olympiads, we started looking at different athletes in that realm, in the actual 5K, in the marathon realm, And we find that the average weight for these guys, or even in cycling, is somewhere between 125, 135 to 155 pounds. Then we did the subtraction, or the mathematics by their height, and next thing you know, we're starting to figure out there was a consistency here. There was a consistency of inches per pound. So with that, we started looking into more other sports. So when we found other sports such as football, we found that football players were closer to 4 pounds per inch. But then when we looked at specific positions, that started changing as well. So then when we looked at a quarterback, he was somewhere around 3 pounds per inch, or 3.5 based on his size, like a Ben Roethlisberger. You want a bigger linebacker, right? Or I mean a bigger quarterback. And then a linebacker, we were looking at somewhere around 3.75. All right, really starting to push that. Now the opposite side to it is body fat, and we'll get into what type of body fat these athletes need to be. But for us as CrossFitters, CrossFit athletes, we want to be at 2.8 to 3 pounds per inch as a male. Okay? Us females, we want to be 2 pounds to 2.4 pounds per inch. So what I do is I'm going to find out what my height is. So if I'm 5'9", I multiply 5 times 12, that's 69, so 69, so 69 inches, and then I multiply that by my 2.8 or 3. So now I have a goal net weight, So that gives me an understanding of what I should be. Mine's roughly about 205 pounds. Okay, that should be, if I'm going to be a CrossFitter, that should be what I weigh, 205 pounds based on my height. You want to make sure you have that calculation, because now that's your goal weight. So if you calculated that and all of a sudden it says 155 pounds, or it says 165 pounds for a woman, that's okay. Don't be scared of that. Now if you're like, well shit, I'm already at that weight. What's the problem? I'm not an elite CrossFit athlete. Well, then that's going to get into another part of when we start talking about body fat and lean body mass. Okay, so we're gonna adjust this. So now that we have a goal weight, Any questions on that? Sweet. With the goal weight, we're going to look at body fat goals. So we did the same thing. We started looking around like, what's the consistency for these athletes in endurance? So most high-level endurance athletes, males, are 5 to 7% body fat. Okay? A lot of cramping, a lot of issues. If you look at a cyclist, right, he falls over really easy for him to break his collarbone. So why is that? His bone density is low. Maybe his lean body mass is kind of small, but he looks pretty, pretty stout. If you've ever seen a cyclist leg, pretty amazing, right? However, his body proportion is so lean, right, that it's really easy for him to get injured. Same thing for females. Females are at 10 to 12. We find that women below 12% start missing menstrual cycles. All right. Also, too, when you guys see females in the Olympics or in a sport, and they have like a square jaw or very lean, and you're like, oh, they look very masculine. Well, of course they do. And the reason why is because they're low in body fat. Below 12% is a male's body fat. So when we start pushing the 10 or the 7 or the 8 as a female, I always say we, but when women start pushing it, all right, immediately they're going to have that tendency. Because if I were to look at a male at 7%, that's equivalent to almost a female at 11 or 12%. Okay, maybe even closer, I would say, to 10. When we look at the power athlete has a wide variance again, because remember, each sport, each position is different. So my soccer player might do real well at 8 to 10% body fat, whereas my offensive lineman might do very well at 18 to 22%. Most of my athletes, though, at any sport, I want them at 10% body fat, especially males. So, meaning that my 305-pound fighter, or my 305-pound lineman, I wanted him at 10% body fat. Okay, that was difficult, really hard, and I'll explain how we did that. And we did it through this diet. Okay, for CrossFitters, we want to be 7 to 10% for males, and for females, we want to be 12 to 14%. 12 to 14%. So we take our goal net weight, and then we're just going to multiply that by 0.07 or 0.1 or 0.12 or 0.14, and then I find what my body fat is, right? So net body weight goal times goal body fat percentage gives me my goal body fat. Now I know what my fat in my body needs to be. Okay. My goal net weight minus my goal body fat gives me my goal lean body mass. So now I have everything. I have my goal now. I know what my lean body mass is supposed to be. I know what my body is supposed to weigh. I know how much fat I'm supposed to have. But maybe I have too much of it, maybe I have too little. Okay. So that's the next portion of what we got to look at. So we have a goal in mind, we have a focus, now we got to work around it. So the nutritional needs is very simple. It's based off what our goal is. I don't like really the idea of really trying, especially you guys that are trying to be high-level athletes, I don't want to just cut a bunch of fat off you and then all of a sudden you start losing lean body mass and then you get weaker and discouraged and then faintish or famish and then all this stuff or real sore or other things. So the way I teach this is it is very slow process. It's not a fast process. I don't have a get-rich-quick scheme here. I don't have something that's going to suddenly lean you out and then you're going to look good, right? It's going to work for you. You're going to get lean. You're going to look great, but your performance is going to go through the roof. Through the roof. Okay. So when I look at this and I think of these goals that I'm going to tell you now in the micronutrient needs, I've had multiple females that have come to me that have started at 105 pounds. So I've had a cross-country athlete that came to me at 105 pounds out of college and over the course of 4 years gained 25 pounds. 25 pounds. Became a nationally ranked Olympic weightlifter, completely different sport. Completely changed her body type. Okay? So when we look at that, do most of us have the patience to wait that 4 years? No, that's the hardest part. Right? Lean body mass is hard to put on. Fat is hard to lose without losing lean body mass. So it's important that we chip away at this in a proper manner. When we look at the nutritional needs, our protein is 1 gram per pound of goal lean body mass, right? Up to one pound per goal net body weight. So meaning that if my lean body mass is 190 pounds, I would want to eat somewhere around 190 grams of protein. If my body weight is 215 pounds, then I can eat somewhere between 190 grams, my lean body mass, all the way up to my body weight. That's the easiest way to calculate that. You'll see some people that will talk about 1 to 2 grams per pound of lean body mass. Just do it. Do it one pound. Start off with your lean body mass, your goal lean body mass, and then progress it up to your body weight. If you start off with eating a lot of protein or eating more protein to what you're accustomed to, you'll know and everybody will know around you. Mostly because you're going to get real gassy. Alright? So that's a little bit too much ammonia, that's too much in your liver. So you want to back that off. We don't want to jump into anything. We want to start at a certain spot, and that's where I said earlier, staying consistent for 30 days is going to be key. Because now I can manipulate it. If I know I ate X amount of protein all month long and I lost some lean body mass, guess what I'm going to do next month? I'm going to eat some more some protein because I don't want to lose my lean body mass. Okay. Now, looking at this, we want to make sure that we multiply it. Here's our math. So now we know how much protein we need. You guys all have a number in front of you of your daily protein amount. You have probably 2. You have your goal net weight and your goal lean body mass. You multiply that by 1. Now you have 2 numbers of protein that you have, a low and a high. Okay. Looking at your carbohydrate needs. Okay, if you are above your goal, right, or if your body fat is above your goal, we're going to try to only eat 50 to 150 grams of carbs per day. Try to eat 50 grams per day on non-workout days and 150 grams on workout days. We also want to take in the majority of our carbohydrates around our workouts. Around our workouts. Okay, almost 2/3 of our caloric intake is around our workouts. You'll see that when I show you guys your schedule. Okay, whether you're a PM workout or an AM workout, or you work out multiple times a day, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna eat most of what I want in the day around that workout. A little before, a little after.
What was the question? Before or after?
A little after. So like imagine that, and I'll show you guys, but if I'm an afternoon workout person, I'm gonna eat 3 hours before that, but I've already eaten for most of the day. I've already eaten most of my calories, and then afterwards I'm only really eating dinner. Right? If I'm in the morning, I'm a morning workout person, I'm going to eat most of my stuff in the middle of the day, and again at night I'm pretty much already done. And I'll show you guys the schedule. It's on the other side. For you guys that are below the goal or below the lean body mass, we're going to eat, or below the lean body, or the body fat percentage, we're going to eat somewhere around 150 to 250 grams per day. Right? So I have some kids in here that are a little leaner that I would imagine that they've never heard me say that they're allowed to eat 250 grams of carbs. They're so excited right now that they're in here. Like, oh, brother, what are you? Now, if I look at that and you look at your net weight, your goal net weight, right? And then all of a sudden you start eating 250 grams of carbs, you start blowing up, you start feeling real good, and then all of a sudden you start going past your goal body weight, what's going to have to happen? Right? You gotta backpedal right on back into that spot, because that's the goal weight. That's our goal weight now. All right? Same thing with our goal body fat. Fat is the same thing. All right? You want to eat somewhere around 30 to 60 grams per day of fat. A little higher fat gives you a little bit more calories. A little more fat helps your joints a little bit more. But one thing you want to be very careful of is free eating fats. Right? So getting in the habit of just taking a handful of nuts, just taking a handful of trail mix, all that type of stuff, free eating that is a big problem. You'll find that a couple handfuls of almond or a couple spoonfuls of almond butter can get you into the 300, 400 calories pretty quickly. And the stuff is pretty phenomenal. You're like, well, I'm eating almond butter and celery, and here we go. Okay. Now, your max fat not to exceed 90 to 120 grams per day. Okay. And some people will talk about, when we talk with the zone and we look at it, some people will say, oh, you can have 4, maybe even 6 times the blocks. I've seen a lot of people react real well with that, and I've seen a lot of people react very poorly with that as well. So again, what I'm trying to teach you guys is how to design your own diet that's specifically going to work for you. Okay? Because the laws of physics are pretty consistent, but they don't always, for some reason, consistent in each individual person. So when I say energy in versus energy out, and then I tell you, okay, energy in is greater than energy out, so then what? I'm actually gonna gain weight. And then if I say energy in is less than energy out, right? So I'm either gaining weight or losing weight. I'm doing one or the other. Sometimes we'll starve ourselves so we still don't lose weight because our body's holding on to it, right? So we need to manipulate that. We need to manipulate the hormones. Okay? And that's what we're doing here. We're starting to actually play with that and manipulating the hormones throughout the week. When we look at our diet throughout the week, we want to make sure that we do not eat any white carbs, no starches, no processed foods, no dairy. Okay, the only carbohydrates that are allowed is vegetables, some lentils, some beans. Buckwheat is kind of getting sticky now. We're getting into some areas that I don't really like. Waxy maize post-workout. Okay, rice syrup I do not like. Some people like it. Some people like the maltodextrose post-workout. Be very careful with it. You kids that are leaner can handle more of it. Okay, that's okay. You guys that are looking to get down to your goal weight, be careful of it because it'd be a quick way to shoot above your daily carb intake. So be very careful of that. When we look at the zone diet, right, it's a block system. They use 7 grams of protein equals 1 block. So if you want to use a block system, that's fine as well. But we don't use their equations. Okay, so the only equation that we use is the actual protein. So I take my goal lean body mass, I divide that by 7, and that tells me how many blocks of protein I need a day. Okay, so my lean body mass is 191, like 7, so I'm going to have to be 27.28 blocks a day. Now the zone will tell you that means that I would have 27 blocks of carbs and 27 blocks of fat. But again, we don't have that equation because we have what? A set number already. So again, we're going to take their number, 9 grams of carbs equals 1 block, 50 grams for you kids that are trying to bring your weight down, right? 50 grams divided by 9, I'm only allowed 5.5, 6 blocks of carbohydrate.